Okay. When when I focus on questions that are like, how am I going to do everything in that way, then it's a more of a fear-based question
Yep.
versus saying, how do I want to do everything that I'm doing?
Yeah.
And so it really comes down to it is changing the questions that we ask ourselves so
Yeah.
that we stay in a state of love and peace and joy
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and making things more like a game, making them fun.
Right.
And that's where, it is a shift. It is like totally transforming how we do life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and
And
focusing on joy and gratitude.
mhm, yeah. And last night I was thinking about this as I was journaling. I I feel like excited when I like just this morning I was talking to Chris and I was like, I am so excited for how the store is going to look like once we get new flooring in here. Like it's going to look
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a good floor. It's hardwood, but dude, it's like the original floor that was in this store since the thing has
Right.
been built in 1891, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, and could it be refinished? Yeah, probably, but at the same time, like we don't have the time to do that. Like we're just gonna go get laminate flooring, snap it together, and just get a good quality one and
Mm-hmm.
put it in, and it's gonna look amazing.
Yeah.
And then I got my wall system ordered. So did I tell you about that?
I don't think so.
Okay. So over here where that wall is,
Huh?
like the turquoise one,
Yep.
we're gonna do an L with it's a glass wall system basically. And so it'll be glass and glass. So then I can look out and see everything that's going on. And it has like the glass doors in the middle.
Okay.
So that'll be my office.
Wow.
Hmm.
Love it.
Yeah. And then we'll have everything else out here. And yeah, so it's like, okay, the feelings,
Yeah.
because those feelings are what really creates either a positive or a negative chemical cocktail in our body.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when like our bodies are an amazing pharmacy, and the more that we can like be intentional about this.
Mhm.
Like I was looking at my planner this morning and I was looking at my thoughts. So it's what main thoughts will I practice this month? And so
Mhm.
taking even 10 minutes in the morning to sit down and look at that.
Yeah.
That's why this is so important because when we start our day off fresh with this, because this is how I'm going to meet my goals, you know,
Right.
this is how I'm going to meet my goals. And So when I broke down this, like one of my goals is to lose 30 pounds in 90 days.
Uh-huh.
And so when I broke it down, I was like, oh, that's 2 pounds a week. And I was
Yeah.
talking to Chris and I was like, 2 pounds a week? Like that's doable. He's like, oh my gosh, that's so easy. And so what am I thinking about? It is so easy to lose at least 2 pounds a week.
Yeah.
And so I broke it down even more. And as I'm thinking about that, like I feel it in my body. Like it's so easy for my body to just let go of 2 pounds a week, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's really about getting into that feeling. And
Yeah.
this is interesting because like 3 years ago, the girls and I did a sugar fast. And I
Mm-hmm.
was so excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, girls, we're going to do a sugar fast. And they were like, okay. And so we cut out all of the sugar and I lost like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And I was
Mm-hmm.
excited. I
Yeah.
look back and I'm like, what was I doing different? What was I doing different then than what I'm doing now? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what was I thinking? How was I feeling? I was excited.
Right.
And so it's getting back into that and being able to, see like what limiting beliefs are trying to throw me off course.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that they are. I don't need
Yep.
to agree with them. And I don't, and I, it's like, no, it's like, I see you over there and you're gonna, get inched into the burn pit,
Yeah. Yeah. We just have to catch ourselves. If I'm sitting here like dreading something, it's not gonna be fun.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just intentionally catching those thoughts before they cycle, or what's the word? Spiral out
I
of
will.
control. Yeah.
Well, and that's where um having that intention in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
however much time a person needs. And sometimes it could be less, sometimes it could be more. Like it doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just
Yeah.
that you're doing this for yourself because this is a huge, huge act of self-love.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't we want to feel excited and joy and in it it's just like I am so grateful for this opportunity. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am so grateful to do this. And yesterday and I was having like my little panic attack. um I finally I had a break and I went over and Chris was putting stuff in. He was transferring stuff into his other van. And I was like, God, it's just so weird, like this fear of the unknown, like meeting with a VP. I mean, oh my gosh.
Right. Right.
And he's like, well, they're people too. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You, you will do well. You always do. Um,
Yeah.
and it was fine. It was really good. Uh, but it's like getting out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
And we talked about that a little bit this morning. I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, it really makes sense. If I were to stay in my comfort zone, or just to stay in comfort,
Yeah.
how is that going to help me get to where I really desire to go? You know, it's just like
Yeah.
creating labels. I didn't know the first thing. I mean, I knew a little bit, but not much. I didn't really know a lot about creating labels and designing them. That was totally new.
Right.
You know, give me a
Yeah.
white
Yeah.
label and black ink and I can slap
Right.
something together, but I learned,
Mm,
and what
yeah.
I'm learning, when in time I want to do basically like um a premium brand.
Hmm.
And when you look at premium brands like Clinique or Louis Vuitton or whatever, like those higher ones, their labels and their packaging and all that stuff is super, super simple.
Yeah, it is.
It is not anything like really bright
Yep.
colors or flashy or anything. It's like so super simple.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
It's true.
okay, if I just take frosted jars and a silver, a brushed silver, because that's not like super shiny, then
Right.
I would take a label and it would be like the clear on a
Mm,
frosted jar. And
hmm.
there you go. And that's your premium product.
Love it. Yeah.
And it's like it's super simple actually.
Yep. Mm,
So how
good
are you
stuff.
feeling about, like the whole comfort zone and
I don't know. I can't tell if like I'm still coming off a vacation, I feel like, and I know that's an excuse, but it literally feels like I almost needed like rest from the vacation. Like I don't have any energy right now. And I'm like, what is going on? Um, I don't know. Like I went to the gym this morning. I was proud of myself, but I just like I didn't feel it. Like I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling strong. I wasn't into it. And so I'm just kind of like asking myself these questions like, I don't want to say like, why am I feeling this way? But that's kind of what I'm asking myself.
what are you feeling?
I just feel blah.
What does blah mean?
Um, like you're talking about being excited, and I'm like, I'm not excited about anything right now, which is weird for me. But I honestly feel like if I put on like a YouTube or a motivation thing or something, that will like change my state.
Mm.
I don't know. Like I have a work call here in 25 minutes, and I'm telling you, I have like no desire for work stuff right now. I literally, I just don't.
Yeah. I
Like there's
understand.
nothing in me excited about it.
Mm.
I'm so grateful it pays the bills and it's flexible, but I'm like, it does not excite me in the least.
Hmm. So what thought could you come up with to help you get more excited?
Like, thank God it'll be over in an hour. So then the rest of my day is mine. Thank God I don't have to be on 8 back-to-back calls today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think being on vacation obviously is joy and excitement and fun and sunshine and beach and with time with people that I love. And the mastermind was like so impactful and inspiring and like felt passion and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want those things in my life every day. So I guess I have to create that
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not feeling it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask myself the question, like, kind of like my why. What is my passion? What is my purpose? Like, literally, what am I here for? You know? And I think just like any business, there's highs and lows, right? Like, I feel super inspired and all the things one day, and then some days I just don't. Because again, comfort. My couch is really comfortable.
Right.
My paycheck is really comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
It comes every 2 weeks, like clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
But like the trade-off, I just talked about how much I dread anything work related right now. Like it's a drag to me. And that's not a good place to be. I don't like that. I don't want to feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of exhausting.
Right. Well, and just those thoughts of, like it's a drag. uh, like those thoughts are essentially causing that feeling of
Yeah, it's not
dragging, like I'm
serving me.
dragging and it like,
Yeah. Hmm.
you know, um, so like yesterday, Chris and I were talking about his backhoe thing. And he's like, well, it sucks. And, we talked a little bit more. And I was like, well, how could you look at it just a little bit differently? Like, how could you change your perspective about it? Like, is this what I prefer? No, I don't really prefer to be, screwed out of, $25,000 or whatever. Um,
Yeah,
it's that perspective though that,
right.
okay, how do I want to feel? What thoughts do I need to have to create that feeling? And this is a
Yeah.
skill. Like this literally is a skill. And that's what I'm talking about, like really being intentional, especially in the morning,
Hmm.
because I feel like that's our freshest time.
Yeah.
Like we just get up and you could probably do it when you're just laying in bed or like whatever.
Yeah, it sets
Um,
the tone for the day.
mhm.
But
Right.
you can do it any time of day, I feel like, and
Absolutely.
shift.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes we have to. Sometimes we'll be
Right.
like, off in judger mode, and it's like, whoa,
Mhm.
where'd that cart and buggy go? Like, wow. All of a sudden I'm down the judger path, and I'm like, yeah, okay. How is my body feeling right now? Like
Yeah.
total dog crap. And so, no, I need to pull back the reins and, switch lanes because this is not where I want to be. And that is like, that's the beauty of this is we always like there's always a chance to whoop, put up a stop sign,
Pivot.
you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the guys on the road, in construction.
Right.
It's like boop, all of a sudden there's a stop sign and it's like, okay, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
I just need to change lanes and
Mm,
refocus myself. And that's a beautiful thing
yes.
because we have choice. I have
Right.
a choice in what I want.
Yeah.
And like,
But it's not easy.
oh, no, this is very, you like a person has to be super intentional.
Yeah.
It's not, like,
Hmm.
but I feel like that comes back to, really our self-love and what do we want for ourselves. And I want to say it's in Deuteronomy 8 where he says, guard yourself. Um,
Mm.
Deuteronomy 4:9. I don't know why I think of 8. Okay.
Mhm.
So he says, um, only guard yourself and guard your life diligently, lest you forget the words your eyes have seen, unless they turn aside from your heart all the days of your life, and you shall make them known to your children and your grandchildren. It's really about guarding our life because if we give, that fear voice
Yeah.
more, more attention and agree with it more then, what do you think?
Yeah.
Which voice is going to be the winner?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be the voice of love?
Right.
And it's a journey. I mean, jeepers. It's
Yeah.
I've been going through a lot of mindset shift since Chris and I got married.
Yeah.
You know, th- The Power of a Praying Wife. That was like one of my first books that I really read, and then I started to apply more to my life. Well, that was almost 18 years ago. And
Hmm.
it's like a continual growth of understanding and applying. And, you know, now it's like, oh, well, shoot, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. It's actually quite simple.
Hmm.
So we learn patterns of the world that are
Yeah.
fear-based, that are not of love,
Hmm.
and they're lies, quite simply. And there's scripture to back everything up that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Romans 12:2, Ephesians, it's Ephesians 6, where it talks about the helmet of salvation, protecting our thoughts from lies.
Yeah.
And when we are in that state of, those unhealthy patterns, the patterns of the world, the lies, we're bound.
Yeah.
And, Yeshua, Jesus, he talks about being unbound, and what is it that actually does that? It's the truth. It's the truth that makes us free. It's not that
Mhm.
it sets us free, it's that it makes us. Like it just makes us. It's just like the grass growing. You don't stop the grass from growing, it just does. And that's how
Mm,
he makes us free as we are more and more, in tune with everything that's going on within ourselves.
yeah.
And we just keep growing, and keep growing. And it's just it's like I said this to Chris this morning when we were talking over coffee. I said, do you feel that? Like, as you have grown, do you feel like you're being unbound? Where it's like
Mhm.
you feel like a weight is lifted, or you have peace in this area, or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, for sure. And I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense. And
Yeah.
it's just like, the father has just been putting all these things in place, and it's like, here it is. It's so simple and how
Mm,
freeing.
yeah.
Like, there is nothing wrong with a person. And when we understand, like, oh, these are thoughts that are not of love, because that's not what God wants for us. And I'm going to put basically, I'm going to put a thing together that shows like the like love and fear, um,
Mm,
learning and love, and judging and fear, something,
yeah.
something along those lines, to
Yeah.
really create a visual,
So
and
good.
then, just bring some understanding to
Yeah.
to what that is and what it looks like, because yeah, it's switching, it's just switching,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so you don't like feeling the stuckness, you don't like feeling that. What do you want to do for yourself?
Right. Mm. Are you asking
Yeah.
me? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have like no energy right now. And I'm like, what is that about? I feel like sometimes I just need rest,
Mm,
you know? And honestly, probably to be filled back up, just to hear
mhm,
his voice and spend time and hear his voice and no one else's.
mhm. Well, that was a big thing that I needed yesterday myself.
Yeah.
And I had seen somebody post something, and it was John 14:26 through like 29 or something. And so I went in and I read it. I read it from my Bible app for myself. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah. So simple, right?
well, and here's the thing. This is what is like super amazing, because he tells us. So in John 14:26, but when the Father sends the Spirit of holiness, the one like me who makes you free, he will teach you all things in my name, and he will inspire you to remember every word that I have told you. I leave the gift of peace with you, my peace, not the kind of fragile peace given by the world, but my perfect peace. Don't yield
Mm,
to fear or be troubled in your hearts. Instead, be courageous. Remember what I've told you, that I must go away, but I promise to come back to you. So if you truly love me, you will be glad for me, since I'm returning to my Father, who is greater than I.
Mm.
Don't yield to fear or be troubled in your hearts. And that is just like meditating on that one. Don't yield to fear. Like he's giving us a command. Don't fear. And oh my gosh, when you look that up in the Bible, like do not fear, do not fear. Oh, he says that how many times to us? Do not fear. Well, that's telling
Yeah.
me that fear is definitely like it can be it's a challenge. And it's a challenge for all of us. There's things that just I don't know, all of a sudden they come up and it's like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
and that's where that Deuteronomy 4:9 comes in, where it's guarding our life.
Hmm.
Like this is very, very real. We are spirits having a human experience. And that's true.
Yeah.
And everything, this might be mind blowing. Um, Reality is actually in the spiritual realm, and it's manifesting or showing up in the physical.
Mm. Hmm. Is that kind of like the same as like I have a thought, whether it's whatever fear-based, then that's your reality because that's what you're manifesting.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because you become what you think essentially, like that kind of
Hmm.
like along those terms,
Hmm.
or along that path. And that's the same thing when the girls and I did our sugar fast. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I kept going. And I did a sugar fast for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Almost 2 years. I did not have sugar. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And even like I don't now I don't conventional stuff that makes me feel like total crap. I don't even do that. Um and I don't particularly like sugary stuff anyways, because it just,
Mm.
I don't know, it doesn't make me feel the best. Um, but it was that excitement,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
it was that feeling that that was being created. And I didn't even really realize it at that time until now I look back and I'm like, oh, okay. That's why I was so successful. I lost like 40 pounds.
Yeah.
But I was really, really in a state of fear. So bad
Mm.
then. So bad.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Like, to me, this is super, super duper exciting
Hmm.
because it's like, yo, we actually get to create the life that
Yeah.
we really, really do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was amazing. Chris said that to me yesterday. He's like, honey, once you really start to believe that, everything is going to just be like incredible,
Mm,
even more so. And so I've been thinking about it and thinking about it, and I get it. Like I get it. But then what does that mean and what does that look like? You know, when it comes to the work that we do, Miranda, this is what people really, really need is that
yeah.
like, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? How do you do it? I could sit here and we could talk about stuff all day long, but
Hmm.
without the application, without the, like the how, which is technically is wisdom. So
Hmm.
in scripture, it's knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Well, you can know something and then you can understand it. Like, oh, okay, I understand like how this works. And then you do it. That's wisdom.
Hmm.
That's the wisdom.
Hmm.
And that's where I know I've gotten caught up in the whole like, obtain information, obtain, do this
Yes.
course and do that course. And it's like, what is that doing for me?
Yeah.
Because I need to apply it. Okay, I learned it, I know it, and I may understand some things I don't, but then it's that doing, and it's that doing that gets us off our butts and out of the comfort zone.
Right.
Like really. And so this, you have to go
Mm,
soon here, right?
3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So Psalm 37,
Oh,
it says, don't follow after the wicked ones or be jealous of their wealth. Don't think for
mm,
a moment they're better off than you. They and their short-lived success will soon shrivel up and quickly fade away like grass clippings in the hot sun. Keep trusting in Yahweh and do what is right in his eyes. Fix your heart on the promises of Yahweh and you will be secure, feasting on his faithfulness. Make him the utmost delight and pleasure of your life, and he will provide for you what you desire the most.
mm,
Give Yahweh the right to direct your life, and as you trust him along the way, you'll find he pulled it off perfectly.
mm. Love that.
Yeah, and there's
Mm.
like there's more and more. Like Psalm 37 is phenomenal. Um, the whole point though is leaning on him always and
Yeah.
allowing him to direct our path, allowing him to fill us and taking our hearts to him,
Yeah.
like that's I do that all the time. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Father, I am really in a funk right now. I need help,
Yeah.
you know. And he wants us to do that. He
Yeah.
wants us to come to him because he's such a loving father. No
Yeah.
father wants to just, I mean, not a loving father wants to
Right.
just turn their child away and be like, Raka.
Mm. Good stuff.
So yeah, we'll have to talk
I
more
love
about
it.
our group. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I know you need to go, so
Okay. We'll be in touch.
you got this. We got this.
Thank you. That was good. Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate you too. I'll send you the recording.
Okay. Have a great
Okay.
day.
All right, you too.